Hello again, I am Jim Bob and welcome back to Marwell Manor. Sun is just starting to crest over the hill. It's very early in the morning, just before 6 o'clock, but we have another busy day ahead of us, so we need this early start. Just making my way over to the machinery shed. We're going to grab the 7R and set a worker off doing some ploughing. We're going to be driving the 6M today, and we're going to be putting some lime down on the field that we ploughed yesterday. That huge, great big field there. So let's just fire up the 7R first of all. There we go, all good to go. And we need to open the shed up as well. There we go. Get some rear lights on as well so we can see what we're doing as we're reversing in. There we go, just get hooked up. And we're going to set the 7R loose on field 15, the field with the dead barley crop. We're going to start ploughing that through, and again we'll need to lime that field once that one's done as well. See little bits of moisture on the ground here. And there we go, there is our field. So if we just kind of get our worker off and running at this point here, we'll tidy up the edges of the field as we need to. There we go. There goes our 7R ploughing away on field 15. So let's make our way back to the shed. We'll grab the 6M, we'll get our fertiliser spreader, the Bredel unit. And we've got ourselves a lime station just here, so we don't have to go very far to make sure that that's topped up, which is a good thing. Get the lights on. There we go, and again we'll give ourselves some additional working lights. There we go, and the 6M is going to be our sort of multi-purpose field maintenance tractor. So we will be switching this over to skiddies when we need to, so that we can fertilise our fields and not damage any crops that we have planted on there. Our fertiliser spreader already has the skiddies attached. Just get the cover raised up. There we go, and start filling up with some lime. Now 7R is going to be our sort of heavy duty tractor, so that'll be the one that'll be pulling the seeder. Oh, we have run out of cash. Okay, this could be a little bit of a problem. I think what we'll have to do is we'll have to get a worker to actually spread the lime for us and purchase the lime for us as well, because we have no available cash left to actually buy it ourselves. That's not so good. We have that credit limit of 500,000 from the Hollisters, and we can't go above that. So any other debt that we incur is just going to have to be operational debt rather than debt with the bank. So let's jump in and go into our worker settings and refill fertilizer by. There we go. We're not quite getting the right sort of width on coverage there, so we'll just have to reposition slightly. Actually, we'll go across a bit more just to make sure that this thin bit on the side of the field where the field opens out just a little bit, we'll make sure we've got coverage there as well. There we go. So once we have spread lime on this field, we will be looking to help out the 7R on field 15. Want to try and get that one ploughed today, and if we have the time, maybe even plough out field 1 as... Sorry, is it field 1? Yes, field 1 as well. Need to get all of our sort of fields turned around nice and quickly. We'll be doing grass work once the fields start to grow, and that will allow us to recoup some of our money. We're going to incur quite a bit of operational debt over this next couple of days as we continue to plough out these fields and spread them with lime, and it's going to be a bit challenging in places, but we will do the best that we can. But once we are in a in a position where our crops are growing and we can do some grass work, we will be making some silage bales, and we'll be able to recoup some of the money that we are losing through selling off silage bales. It is, of course, entirely possible that we may have to go to the Hollisters and ask for a little bit of an extension on the loan. I'd rather prefer we don't do that. We'll try and muddle on as best we can, but it's entirely possible that we may well need a sort of a little financial stimulus from them. Of course, running a larger debt means that we pay more in interest every day. And that's obviously not a good thing for a farm that is yet to actually start making money. I want to try and avoid the debt getting too big. But fingers crossed we'll be able to manage reasonably comfortably. Let's see the sun cresting now over the hill properly. It's some really, really beautiful lighting. This truly is an incredibly picturesque little area here down in the south of England. And I think I'm going to be very happy here for quite some time. So I'll carry on spreading some lime, and I'll catch up with you in a little while. We're racking up quite a big operational debt. Unfortunately, we are going to have to go and speak to the Hollisters and ask them to invest a little bit more money in the farm, because it's not just getting this work done here, but we're not going to be able to afford to buy seed or fertilizer for our fields at this rate. So we are going to have to go and sort of request some additional investment so that this first harvest can be a profitable one. Of course, it does mean that the first harvest income is going to have to go almost certainly is going to have to go massively towards paying off the extra debt. So it is going to limit our ability to sort of expand the farm as quickly as I'd hoped. But that is the nature of the game. Unfortunately, we're going to borrow a lot of money. We need to pay it back quickly. So we're going to have to go and ask for more cash. And given how much debt we've racked up already today, I think we're going to have to go and ask for... I was thinking maybe 50,000, but I'm thinking now, given that we're going to need to lime the other 2 fields as well, I think we're looking at probably the need for maybe 75, maybe even 100,000 of extra cash. We'll see how much we can get up towards maybe 600,000, but I'm a little worried actually at just how much debt we're going to incur. We may have to kind of potentially skip our first year's crop planting if we can't get much money, and just do grass work for our first year and then see how much money we can raise, if it's enough, so that in our second year we can actually start doing some crops. I really hope that's not the case, or maybe we'll only be able to run just the one field, just this field. We'll see where we are. Once this field is done, we'll have to go and visit the Hollisters and spend some time grovelling for extra cash, I think. Not the greatest sort of situation to be in. It's still early in the morning as well. It's not even 8 o'clock yet, so we certainly can't go yet. I'm going to let them sort of get through their morning routines, breakfast, getting ready, and doing what they need to do. So it'll probably be another couple of hours or so before we do actually make a trip over to the Hollisters. But yeah, we're going to have to go cap in hand, I think. In an effort to save a little bit of cash, I've actually relieved the worker who was running the 7R for us, and I'm doing a little bit of this myself, just to try and ease a little bit of the financial burden that we're under. So fingers crossed, we can at least slow down some of that extra income. Looks like our worker might be turning. So the money is ticking down very, very slowly at the moment. Why has he got stuck? If he's got stuck, why are we still paying? He must be stuck somewhere. Alright, let's have an investigation here. Oh, he's doing one of these ridiculously long reverses. Okay. He's reversed the length of the field. Look, okay, we'll have to get him up and running again. That's one of the things I've noticed with the AI on Farming Sim 19 is that it's not that good. It does make these stupid decisions sometimes. Alright, let's get him repositioned. Because we're going to have to manually work the field ourselves around the edges as well to get all these bits that are going to be missed. So even if we were able to buy the lime straight away, we'd still have to spend quite a bit just doing those weird little border bits. There we go, back up and running in the 7R. It's gone 8 o'clock in the morning now. It's getting nice and bright. The sun is very clearly up. Just getting a few long shadows by the trees themselves. You can see the shadow that our 7R is casting in front of us. But we've got some good operational light here. We need to make the most of it do as much as we can, as quickly as we can. As I say, we are going to have that sort of budget meeting a little bit later. I really hope we can actually get some additional investment. Otherwise, it's really going to limit what we can do in year one. Because as I say, at the moment, we can't even afford seed or fertiliser. And I'd be amazed if Mr. Hollister would be happy to let us just not plant anything at all this year. It would not represent a particularly good return on his investment. I think we both kind of miscalculated just how expensive it would be to, in this opening part of the farm. So we may just have to concentrate on just the 2 fields this year, and leave the other one till next year. Seeing as we've already started ploughing this one, we might as well, finish this one off and try and get this field as operational as well. It will involve, more cost on our part, but will also return a better yield on our investment. We'll be able to, have either a larger volume of crop or 2 crops, depending on how we decide to go. So, yeah, maybe that's the way. Maybe just running 2 fields this year and the 3rd field next year. I suppose we could always see if we could lease out our other field to another farmer, perhaps. We'll have to see. Have to see if the thistle farm is actually running this year. As I say, I know that a lot of the farms in the area have all been under some real financial struggles recently, so they might not have anybody. They might not have anybody running their farm this year. So the worker has done the large bulk of the field. We're just trying to tidy up these little bits around the edges. We should be pretty good in terms of coverage around most of the field. We have got a little bit of lime left in the tank that we can use. I just want to make sure that this field at least is fully covered. So we're just kind of doing quick little spray and go periods like this, just to try and clear whatever's remaining, and hope that we can get it all covered before we run out of lime. There we go. A little bit more along here. It's going to be tight, but I think we're going to do it. And there's a quick blast along the bottom of the field as well. And now it's time for us to go cap in hand to Mr. Hollister and see if I can persuade him to add some additional funds. So before we do that, I'm just going to very quickly get the 7R back up and running again. Carry on ploughing out field 15. And you can see we've incurred over 20,000 pounds of debt today in costs for supplies. That's an awful lot. And it's only going to get more. Get repositioned properly. There we go. That should do it. And off he goes. So, yeah, let's make our way over to Marwell Manor Estate and see if our meeting is going to go well. I did phone ahead and say that we needed to come and speak with him, so he is expecting us. Let's just drop off the fertilising unit just there. Going to clean the wheels off the tractor as well, just so we're not driving a lot of mud across his estate. We'll try and limit how much mess we make. I think going forward we might look at perhaps getting ourselves, if we have enough spare cash, we might look at getting ourselves a small sort of utility vehicle, so that if we do ever need to sort of drive around and call in on the Hollisters again, we can go there in a non-giant agricultural piece of equipment. We'll see how we go. So it's a little short drive. The Marwell estate is just around this corner. Actually, it's really, really close to the farm. So we just go over the little stream there. And this is Marwell Manor Estate. So we'll park up just here, out of the way. And we will go knock on the door and see if we can actually get that additional investment that we are going to need. Well, we've just had a very long but successful meeting with Mr. Hollister there. He has agreed to fund the farm with an additional £100,000 on the understanding that at the end of our first round of harvests we pay a minimum of £50,000 back into the bank to service the debt. Ideally he would like more than that, but 50 is the absolute minimum that we are required to pay. We can't pay less than 50,000 at the end of our first round of harvest. So fingers crossed, we'll actually be in a pretty good position. Now we're on our way to the John Deere dealership to go and get an extra couple of little bits of equipment. Try and keep things as cheap as we can. Initially, Mr. Hollister had agreed to fund us with 75,000, but after further discussions, and this is why the meeting ended up taking so long, we both realised that there are a couple of extra little bits of equipment that we could really ideally do with in our opening year, just to help improve how well we can do things on the farm. So one of the things he has agreed to fund us for is a trailer, so that we can actually transport any bales that we make in the summer and sell those off at the barn, because otherwise without them it's going to be a lot of effort selling them, a lot of trips selling them at 2 at a time. So we will be looking to get a trailer, and we're also going to be getting a 4-meter subsoiler as well. So let's just pop in to the dealership just here, have a little chat. I think they might have a subsoiler in stock already, but we may well have to wait for the trailer to be delivered. We'll have to have a look and see what they have. So I'm going to pop into the Hunt Forest Group dealership and I'll catch up with you in just a moment. Well, we're in luck. Both items are actually in stock. So we're going to pop round to the back and collect the subsoiler and hopefully the trailer. I'm not sure if we can actually take them back both in one go. We might be lucky. We'll have to see. Cost us 22.5 grand to pick up the set. Just make our way through. There's our trailer, and there's our subsoiler. Now, I don't have a front attacher on here, as you can see, or at least not a standard front attacher. I suppose I could try reversing back. That would be a bit risky, but I might be able to hook up to the trailer behind the Culti-Plough. Let's see if we can do that. Ah, yes, we can. We're in luck. There we go. I turned my beacons on, but we don't have any on the 6M, so we're just going to have to be wary of other users on the road. They're going to have to be wary of us as well. Luckily the way looks pretty clear. So we'll get back to the farm. The trailer will go away in our bale shed. And the Culti-Plough we're going to use pretty much straight away. We came to an agreement, as I say, with the Hollisters. The additional funds were allowed for this extra equipment. Now the Culti-Plough will be a long-term piece of equipment. And going forward will enable us to actually get rid of our ploughs completely, and we'll be able to just use Culti-Ploughs going forward. But for this first year, it's going to be very, very difficult for us to use the Culti-Plough on field 1. We're going to carry on using the plough on field 15 and get that one fully ploughed. And we have been instructed that even though we have a direct drill seeder, the feeling is that there's the potential for perhaps causing a few technical issues with the seeder if we just cultivate and seed directly onto freshly spread lime. So we have agreed that we should really be cultivating the lime into the field before we start seeding with the Pronto. So we will be running the Culti-Plough over field field 18 that we spread with lime. We'll be getting that done, and then, as I say, once our round of ploughing is done, we'll be able to get rid of the ploughs, get a little bit of our cash back, which will help. Pick up a second Culti-Plough, and that'll be it for us for our sort of ploughing needs going forward, because we're not looking to extend the fields in any way. I'm quite happy with them as they are in terms of size and shape. So let's just drop the trailer off just there for now. There we go. I'm going to switch the equipment over slightly, so we'll get the 7R to do the Culti-Ploughing or the cultivating on field 1. And we will get the 6M to take over ploughing duties. So let's make our way through to the other field. We'll swap the tractors over. And get them on their new respective duties. So we've actually made a decent bit of progress on the field. There we go. So we'll park that up there. Let's go get into the 7R, because we need 180 horsepower or so to run the Culti-Plough. No, what is he doing? He's coming to meet us, I think. There we go. So we'll switch them over. We need 180 horsepower to run the Culti-Plough, and I think the 7R would just cope with the gradient of that field a little bit better than the 6M can. So let's just drop the plough there. There we go. Get the 6M up and running. There we go. And this is still slightly underpowered for the plough, but at least it won't be too bad of a difference. So we'll get that running there, and we'll start cultivating that lime into the field so that tomorrow we can actually start our planting. Get our first crop into the ground. We'll have the money for it as well, which is the important thing. And then hopefully we'll be in a position to actually do the same with field 15 tomorrow as well. So there we go. This is going to be another long job, but you know, it's going to be at a slightly wider working width, so it won't take us as long to get this field done as it did yesterday. You know, we've got 1.5 meters working width on what we had yesterday, so we'll crack on with this. We'll continue ploughing out field 15 and try and get that spread with lime today, and then tomorrow we should be good to start seeding and getting our first crops in the ground. So I've been struggling for traction a little bit, and I think we were slightly rear heavy. So what I'm going to try and do is do a little bit of tinkering with our 6M here. Let's see. Let's put a weight on the front, give us a bit more balance, and let's look at maybe switching the wheels out for a bit of extra traction. Let's go with some rear twins. That might give us a little bit of extra balance, I think. There we go. Let's back up and hook back up to the plough. There we go. Let's make our way back over to the field and carry on ploughing out field 15. Our subsoiler is working its way through the field very nicely indeed. 7R is making pretty quick work of actually getting through that field. I mean, there's still a lot that still needs to be done, but you know, we'll get that done by the end of the day. I have no doubt of that. And I just want to put a bit of a border in down here. Just so we've got a little bit of extra turning room against the bottom of the field. You can see it's a little spot that we missed over there as well that we need to make sure that we grab. You can just see a little tuft of the previous crop just sticking up. So we'll make sure we clear that. And then we can start running up and down the field again, and hopefully our performance will be a little bit better. I was noticing on the uphill sections of this field we were slowing down to as much as 4 miles an hour, or as little as 4 miles an hour, which is quite a bit off the kind of speeds that we need really to get this field done. So I'm hoping this new kind of configuration will give us a little bit of better traction and a little bit more stability at the front, so those front wheels can also help propel us up the field. Just turn our plough. Good start at 6 miles an hour. It's once we get past that telegraph pole that's where we usually start slowing down to 4 or 5 miles an hour. I don't mind dropping to 5, but dropping to 4 is too much of an issue. And even after I'd done a little bit of maintenance on the engine, I was still having that issue. So I'm hoping that, as I say, keeping those front wheels, pressed down into the ground will help give us more grip at the front, more traction at the front, and maybe even these rear wheels, these extra sets of rear wheels will again keep our speed a bit more constant, because there is a bit of a gradient, as you can see. Just dipping slightly to 5, keeping pretty constant. There's that 4 mile an hour dip again, so it's a lot less noticeable though. It's not a massive improvement. Again, we are perhaps slightly underpowered to run this plough, but it's certainly better than it was. We were running at 4 for much longer periods than that little blip that we had there, so it's not the perfect setup, but it's definitely a bit of an improvement. And we do, as I say, need to try and get this field done as quickly as we can. It needs to be done with the 6M because we need the 7R to do the bigger job. The job that is going to take longer. So if we can run at a more consistent pace with the 7R on that field, on field 15 or field 18, then we need to use that tractor for that. So we're down to 47,000. We'll make sure that we top the seeder up and add in the fertilizer as well. Slightly off target again. There we go. So yeah, we'll make sure that we get the 7R running as consistently as we can. I've just missed another patch there, look. Let's go back and tag that little bit there. Don't want to leave any of the old crop on the field. And make sure that's completely cleared. Don't want it to have any potential knock-on effects on whatever we plant here for our next round of crop. Again, we might have a little bit that, yeah, it's that thin strip. That's where we wobbled coming up the hill. I was expecting us to have to recorrect for that bit there. There we go. But yeah, the 7R is definitely better suited to cultivating in all that lime. So 180 horsepower is the requirement to run the Cultiplough. This tops at about 164, I think it is. And with the uphill gradient, it's just going to slow us down too much on a field that is a lot bigger than this one. So we can afford to run a little bit slower on this field because there's not as much ground to cover, nowhere near as much ground to cover. But the other one, we have to run at peak operating performance all the way through to have any chance of getting it done today. So we'll crack on again and have another little advance in time, try and make as much progress ploughing this and getting the cultivating done, and I will check in with you a little bit later on. So we're a little after 6 o'clock in the evening, 10 past 6 it's just turned, as you can see, and we're making really good time on this field here. If we take a look at the overview here, you can see we're about halfway through this field. You can also see these kind of little bits that we missed when we were ploughing, and the great thing about having this Cultiplough to cultivate in the lime on the soil is that it's actually picking up and removing these little spots that are left over as well. We had a couple that were sort of along here. I also had a few that were sort of along this edge just here, and they're all gone. They're all cleared away. So these spots that are left over here from when we were ploughing in very dark conditions, I couldn't really see what we were doing. We'll get rid of those as well. Speaking of ploughing, if we take a look over here, you can see that our 6M is making good progress on this field as well. I don't think we're going to have time to lime it today, but we'll certainly have time to get the ploughing finished, and then we can lime it and cultivate it tomorrow, and maybe possibly even get some seeding done as well, although I think it's probably a little bit more of an optimistic attempt to try and get seeding done on this field tomorrow, but we can certainly get this field limed, cultivated, and make a start on ploughing out field 1 as well. So our seeding will start tomorrow on field 18, hopefully on this field as well. If not, we'll have our day 4, which will be kind of mid-spring for us, and we'll be able to get crops in on that day, and then day 5 will be when we plant field 1, and we'll probably go with something like soybean on that field, I think. So I've been trying to think, what do I want to go with for my opening crops. I think I'm going to put oats on field 18. This field I might go wheat or barley, possibly canola. I'm not sure yet. Probably go canola actually on this field, and then, as I say, we'll put some soybean on field 1 in a couple of days' time. Get those starting to grow nicely, and then we can get our grass work started and start making some silage bales. And we've got that lovely kind of glow from the sun as well as it's starting to set. It's just over there, just behind the trees. But it's that lovely kind of light level where it just looks absolutely beautiful. But of course, we do know that in about an hour's time, it's going to be really dark and getting really quite tricky to see. And then an hour after that, it's going to be almost pitch black. So we really do need to get a bit of a wriggle on if we're going to get these jobs done in a good time tonight. So I'll stop talking. I'll keep rattling on, and I'll catch up with you in just a moment. Darkness is starting to set in again. As you can see, the sun almost gone. Just a little bit of a glow over there as it sinks below the horizon. Coming up on 8 o'clock in the evening. We've still got a fair bit of work to do over here on this field, but we'll crack on and we'll make sure that gets done. I am trying to get as wide a spacing as possible on each pass to get this field done just a little bit quicker than if I left it solely to the AI. So every time it gets to the end like this, I manually reposition so that it reduces that overlap as much as possible. Just means that we can get through the field a little bit quicker. And there we go. And we've got this lovely soil that is now absolutely perfect and ready for planting tomorrow. We'll get our first crop in the ground. We take a quick look at our ploughing. You can see not a huge amount of crop left, and it's hard to see. I'll grant you, it is quite dark. But if we take a look at the map, you can see not a massive amount left. It'll take another couple of hours to get that done, I think. But as I say, tomorrow we'll be able to get that limed, cultivated, and then maybe, if we're lucky, we might even be able to actually get that planted as well. But we'll certainly be planting here on field 18. We've made good progress. We've done, I would say, nearly 2/3 of the field. So another few hours to go, and then this section will be finished off as well. I suppose if worst comes to worst, I could always finish cultivating this little bit here in the morning. But I'd like to try and get it done tonight if I possibly can. Same with this ploughing. I want to try and get it done before we turn in, just so that tomorrow we can start fresh on a brand new task and not have to finish off these ones. So it does mean it's going to be another late night. But the good thing is that tomorrow, if we can go straight into planting, we can actually get through more than one job per field. I think we can get through a couple of different jobs. Certainly get our planting done, get this field limed, cultivated, maybe seeded, maybe even get started on field 1 with the ploughing as well. It all depends how long it's going to take us to seed field 18, I think. But with a 9-metre working width and a 10-mile-an-hour operating speed, I can't see that taking too long. And then we can, tackle that really, really overgrown, weeded field, on the field 1, and try and get that prepped, ready for a soybean planting in a couple of days' time. So I'm going to call it an episode here. I'm going to end slightly earlier, just because this is basically me now just running in the dark for the next couple of hours. But as I say, tomorrow we will get our planting started. We'll start off with an oat crop on field 18, and we'll see what else we can get done as well. So that's it from me. Thanks for watching. I am Jim Bob, and I'll be back with some more Marwell Manor very soon.